Hey you guys, welcome back to See Mindy Mom and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you some 10-minute meals, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, I don't know if it's just us or if there's anybody out there who is in the same boat, but we have entered this season where we are just constantly busy. It just seems like we are so busy. It's a good kind of busy and I'm grateful for it, but the kids have lots of activities and then my husband and I have work obligations or sometimes meetings or things that are going on in our lives that keep us out of the house around the time that I would be preparing dinner. And you guys know that I love a good crock pot meal, but that's just not feasible to have on the menu all the time. So I decided to do a week of dinners that I can prepare in 10 minutes or less. And when I say 10 minutes or less, I don't mean just, 10 minutes of prep time and then you walk away from it and it has to cook for half an hour or an hour. I mean, these meals were ready to eat in less than 10 minutes. And confession, I wanted to call this 5-minute meals because I was really hoping that these would take closer to 5 minutes, but I feel like as I was preparing them, it was really closer to 10 minutes. But you know what? If you aren't filming and you aren't stopping and explaining everything that you are doing or trying to get B-roll, then maybe you can prepare them in 5 minutes. So I will show you what I use to make these meals and how I prepare them, and I hope it gives you some ideas. This first meal is a creamy ranch, turkey sausage and broccoli gnocchi. And I don't usually cook with gnocchi very much, but it is something that cooks really quickly. And so I probably need to be cooking with it a little bit more. But here are the ingredients that I'm using for this recipe. I have 2 packages of gnocchi right there, 2 crowns of broccoli, 1 cup of chicken broth, which I don't buy in a carton anymore, so I just made mine from broth base and water, some minced garlic, some Parmesan, half a stick or 4 tablespoons of butter, some minced onion, some smoked turkey sausage, and a little bit of half and half. And that is my homemade ranch seasoning that you saw me showing there, but you could use a packet if you want to. So I'm just gonna give my broccoli a quick chop along with my turkey sausage. And I have water boiling on the stove already. And like I said, one of the great things about gnocchi that I didn't know is that it cooks in like 2 to 3 minutes. It takes longer for the water boil than it does for it to cook. So once my water is boiling, I'm adding my gnocchi and my broccoli to the pasta water. And it is going to cook for probably about 3 minutes, I think is about how long it took mine. But on the instructions, it says that when the gnocchi starts to rise to the top, that means that it is done. So once it was finished, I just drained it and set it aside until I'm ready to add it to my sauce. So while my broccoli and gnocchi are cooking on the stove, I am making up my sauce. I melted my butter in my pot there, and then I added some minced garlic and a little bit of dried minced onion. You absolutely could use fresh chopped onion. I just didn't want to take the time to chop it this day. And then I am adding probably about 2 tablespoons of my homemade ranch seasoning. You could just use a packet of ranch seasoning if you want, and 1 cup of my chicken broth. If you want to know how I make my homemade ranch seasoning, I have a video that is linked in the description box below that shows you how. It's made from powdered buttermilk. I am now adding my chopped turkey sausage there and probably about a 1/4 cup to 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan. I didn't really measure it. I just eyeballed it. I put as much as I thought I wanted in there and gave that a stir. I let it simmer on the stove so it would thicken up a little bit. And here's what it looks like after it has simmered for a few minutes. I wanted it to be a little bit runny because I know that once I add my broccoli and my gnocchi back in, I want to be able to coat my broccoli and my gnocchi with all of the sauce. So here it is all together. After that broccoli and gnocchi had cooked, like I said, I drained it and set it aside, and then I just stirred it into my sauce whenever I was ready to serve it. And here's what it looks like all plated up. This was really, really good, and it made a lot. I probably could have just used 1 package of gnocchi. This made a lot of leftovers, which we were able to eat for lunches the next few days. But everybody liked this, even my son, who says he doesn't like potatoes. So I say that is a win. The next night I made these really easy chicken burrito bowls, and I used some quick cooking microwave rice that I kind of doctored up a little bit with some extra cheese and some sauce, and we were able to make these really yummy chicken burrito bowls, and they came together really fast. So these are the ingredients that I am using. Some of this stuff I just pulled from my pantry and from my fridge. I have a rotisserie chicken, some black beans. I have 2 bags of cook in the microwave rice, and I'm gonna add a little bit of cream cheese and queso to that. I have a block of cheese that I'm gonna shred up, and then some salsa and chips and some Greek yogurt that we can use to top these as well. So I'm just gonna pop these bags of rice into the microwave according to the directions. I have two different kinds here, one that's a seasoned rice and one that's just a plain rice with some veggies in it. So I thought I would use them both and kind of get some vegetables in this dish as well. So I'm cooking them in the microwave for 5 minutes since I'm cooking 2 at a time, and they just steam in the bag just like that. And while those are in the microwave, I'm going to shred up some cheese. Of course, you could cut a corner here if you wanted to use just pre-shredded cheese. I just like the taste of cheese whenever I shred it myself. And then I rinsed and drained my black beans. I did not heat these up. Some people like them cold, some people like them warm on their dish, and I figure I can heat them up whenever it's time for me to make the bowls up if I want to, or we can just have them plain and cold on top of our little rice bowls here. And then I am going ahead and taking the meat off of the bone of the chicken. You can skip this step entirely if you are feeding adults, because I feel like they can get their own chicken. But with kids, it's a little bit easier for them to make their plates themselves, or for me to make them up if I go ahead and take some of the meat off the bone and shred it myself. So once my rice comes out of the microwave, I'm going to put it in a bowl with 2 ounces of cream cheese and with a little bit of jar queso, and then I'm gonna pop that back in the microwave for just a minute or so and stir it all together. Now, I will just say that this was a little bit over the top. I didn't probably need the cream cheese and the queso. I probably should have just left the queso out and let people add that to their plates themselves. I felt like it was just, a little too much over the top for me, but hindsight's 20/20, and sometimes we try things and they don't work out. What I was thinking whenever I hatched this plan was that I was making kind of like a cheesy rice casserole, and that would be really good on the bottom of these chicken burrito bowls. But as I said, it was probably just a little too much. I probably only needed one or the other, the cream cheese or the queso, and not both. But once that came out of the microwave, I just stirred it up, and then everything was ready to put together. So I just put some rice in the bottom of my bowl and topped it with some black beans, some chicken, a little shredded cheese. I have some salsa and some Greek yogurt there instead of sour cream. You can use sour cream if you want, and some tortilla chips. Guacamole would be great, or any veggies that you have lying around in your refrigerator, but these were great. So tonight's plans actually changed. We were supposed to be out of the house for ball practice, but it has been raining for the past couple of days. So ball practice was rained out, but I still have this meal on the menu. So we're gonna go ahead and make it. We are going to make some little mini pizzas out of garlic toast. So I have 2 boxes of this garlic toast, and I'm just gonna lay it out on a cookie sheet, and I'm going to pop some pepperonis on top and then sprinkle a little of this mozzarella cheese on top. I will put it in the oven. I'll probably put it in at 350 for, 3 or 4 minutes, and then I will probably turn the broiler on and broil it for 1 or 2 minutes until it is done. And to go along with that, I'm going to make some wedge salads. And one of the great things about wedge salads is that I don't have to spend a lot of time chopping up lettuce. I just have to take a head of iceberg lettuce and peel away the top layers and then chop it into wedges. And then I am going to top that with some ranch dressing, a little bit of red onion and some tomatoes and some feta cheese and a sprinkling of bacon. And that is gonna be dinner tonight. Super easy and very quick. The last night I made some grilled turkey, bacon, and cheese sandwiches, and I realized that grilled sandwiches are nothing new or special necessarily, but I do have a few things that I do differently that I thought I would share with you. Number one, this is my secret ingredient right here. It is whipped cream cheese. I put a layer of that in my sandwiches whenever I'm making grilled cheese, and I'm also gonna use an ultra thin cheese slice. because it will melt much faster. And I prefer to use the regular cheese as opposed to the processed American cheese. I also melt my butter and I use a basting brush to baste it onto the sides of the sandwich that are going to be on the griddle, because I can do that much faster than spreading butter across the bread, and it lets me assemble the sandwiches right on the griddle. So I just baste some butter on the bread and then I turn it over, and on top of that I'm going to put my cheese slices, and remember those bacon bits from the salads? I'm going to sprinkle a few of those in there as well. You could use regular bacon that you have cooked if you have that. A few slices of turkey, and then I'm going to put that whipped cream cheese on the underside of the other slice of bread and put it on top of my sandwich. It's going to help the sandwich stay together, especially whenever I flip it. And then I just put the butter right on top of the other piece of bread, and it's ready to flip whenever I want to turn the sandwiches over. I'm using a sourdough bread. You can use whatever kind of bread you like. I really like sourdough for grilled sandwiches. I think it's a little bit heartier, so it stays together easier. And these are very, very large pieces of bread, so I'm only going to need to make a few sandwiches, and I'm going to cut them in half. While those are finishing up on the griddle, I'm just going to go ahead and slice up this cantaloupe that I got in my Imperfect box. You could use, whatever kind of fruit, or serve this with like some carrots and celery and a little bit of ranch dressing. We're just going super easy tonight. It's almost kind of like a summer meal, and we're right knocking on the door to summer, so I'm very excited about that. But my sandwiches are done. Look how golden brown and toasty they look. Yummy. These were so, so good. I actually had to come back and make a few more because everybody wanted extras. And like I said, I just served it with a side of fruit and some chips, and that was it. Really easy, quick dinner. That's what I have for you guys today. Leave me a comment and let me know your super easy go-to fast meal that you prepare for yourself or your family. Thanks for watching, and I will be sure to check in again with another video very soon. Bye.